Hello friends, it is Stasia and welcome back to my channel. Today we will be going over some goals. We're going to go ahead and check in with my 2023 goals and touch on some goals that I have for 2024. 2023 overall was a pretty good year for me. I will say the last quarter was not the greatest. I don't know what happened, honestly. I just lost all motivation to do basically everything, which we will touch on a little bit later. So overall it was a decent year, but hopefully 2024 will be even better. So I have all my goals written down on my phone, both for 2023 and 2024. So first we'll go ahead and go into 2023. So I had 8 goals, and we'll get into those slowly. And then for 2024 I have 6. So the first goal I had for 2023 was to read 100 books, which is pretty consistent for me, and I did complete that. Yay. I ended up reading 118 books. I'm sure it could have been more, but like I said, the last quarter was definitely not my friend, but I'm still really proud of the 118 that I did get to read. Next I had the goal to read and vlog all of the book club books. If you don't know, I co-host a romance book club called the Mending Hearts Book Club, and I was doing really good at this. I was getting my vlogs out, all of them were tagged, all of them were annotated, and then like I said, the last quarter of the year hit and I just didn't do that great. So I ended up reading 10 months. So I didn't finish November and December, but of those 10, all of them are tabbed and annotated. As for vlogs, I do have my October vlog. It's just not edited. So will you guys ever see that? I don't know. So as of now, I only have 9 vlogs out for the 12, but I read for 10 months. Fine. I know it's really bad because it's my own book club, but it's okay. You know, sometimes life is just that way. And then the next goal, which I also failed, it was to get my physical books under 100 to 120, and I failed that horrendously. I somehow ended the year with 200 unread books, which is kind of wild because my other goal was to buy no more than 30 books, which I did complete. I only bought for myself 27 books last year. So how did my TBR grow so much? I have no clue. It's fine. It is what it is. And then the next goal I would say I accomplished. It was basically just to read what I want and not to read based off of the hype. For the most part, I really read mainly romance. A few thrillers. I would like to read a bit more thrillers in 2024. But yeah, so I definitely read what I wanted to. I didn't give into the hype too much. There were a couple times where I did give into the hype. Like I did read Fourth Wing, but I enjoyed it, so I don't really mind. So I did do that, and then I failed my next goal as well. So 2023 was not that great, but that was to do the 12 and 12 challenge, which was the 12 books recommended by 12 friends. Of the 12, I think I read 8. So that's okay. I think it also had to do with like a lot of the books that I did read weren't amazing for me, so I didn't really want to pick up other books that were picked for me because I wasn't super enjoying the books that I was reading for that challenge. So I read 8, which isn't bad, but you know, it is what it is. And then the last 2 goals were like not super reading heavy. One was to be consistent on social media, which I was up until like November, December, and then I kind of just fell off of YouTube. And then the other one was to hit 1K on YouTube, which I did, so thank you so much. And then 5K on Instagram. I did not reach 5K on Instagram because I was hardly on Instagram. So those were all of my goals for 2023. I feel like I completed a lot of them for the most part, but my goals next year, I feel like they're not as daunting in my opinion, but we'll see. We'll see where the year leads us. So now we'll get into my 2024 goals. So first and foremost, we have the, you know, very big, how many books are you gonna read this year? So my official goal on Goodreads and Storygraph is at 100, which is pretty normal for me. I have consistently passed 100, but my unofficial goal in like my brain is 150 books. I've only passed 150 books once, and that was in 2021, where I read like 160 something. But like I said, that was way back in 2021. So I've not passed 150 since then, and that was the only time in my life I've ever passed 150. So my official goal is 100, which I feel really comfortable at, but my unofficial goal is 150. So we'll see how that goes. And then as for my book buying, last year I gave myself a limit of 30. This year I'm giving myself a limit of 20, and I do think that's doable. Even though I bought 27 books last year, it is definitely doable for me to stick under 20, because most of the books that I bought last year were for the Mending Hearts book club. But this year I'm not counting book club books towards purchased books, if that makes sense. I feel like as a host, I want to own all of the physical copies of the books that we read for the book club, and that's just something that I want to do. So I'm not going to add that to my like buying limit, even if I do need to buy them, because personally I just feel like this buying limit is for books that are like I don't know when I'm gonna read. But when I buy the book club's books, I read it that year, so I feel like it's justifiable for me to not include book club books in my limit. If I buy a book club book for a different book club, then yes, that will count. But any books that I buy for the book club that I co-host, the Mending Hearts book club, will not count. So I do actually think it's pretty doable for me to keep my limit under 20. Yeah, my main goal is to buy no more than 20 books. I do have a grace period where it's like up to 25, but I didn't even hit all 30 last year, and that was including buying all the books for the book club. So I do definitely think that it's doable for me to stick with under 20 books bought. And then my beautiful, wonderful physical TBR. I mentioned earlier that I am now starting the year with 200 unread books. I don't know how. I don't know why it keeps happening. But I would like to hopefully get my physical TBR under 150 by the end of the year, which may be difficult, but I have a plan in place to help me with this. So the first plan that I have in place is to do my own version of the 12 and 12 challenge. Instead of posting like my shelves and having other people pick 12 books for me, I've decided that I'm going to hopefully vlog like my own 12 and 12, in which I like randomly number generate my shelves, and then whichever number that it lands on will be the book that I read. I feel like that will also help me get a little bit more excited with the mystery of what the book will be for my 12 and 12 challenge. So obviously I'll do that random number generating once a month, and then hopefully you guys will get a vlog on that. I think it also gives me the opportunity to potentially get like newer release books as well, because as I add books to my shelf, that will obviously add to the number that I would generate for, instead of like just having it books that I got before the new year. I'm just randomly generating all of them. So I feel like that would be a more exciting way for me to do my 12 and 12 challenge. So that will also help me read books that I physically own. And then I also have the goal where I want to apply for less ARCs so that I can stay on top of my ARCs. So I have had in the past a really bad habit of just signing up for like every single romance arc, which isn't a bad thing because I love romance, but I feel like when I apply for so many arcs, I don't focus on the books that I own. Even though I'm really excited to read all of these, I have the obligation to read these arcs first because I signed up for them, and because obviously I want to support and promote these authors. But I'm going to try to really limit the amount of arcs that I apply for so that I will have more room to read whatever else I want. Last year there were some months where I read like 90% arcs, and then like the other 10% was like book club or like other physical books. But for the most part, I was reading a lot of arcs, which I don't think are bad. I don't think it's bad. But for me personally, since I want to get my physical TBR down, I feel like it would be smart for me to not apply for so many. I don't know what that'll look like, but I do want to apply for less and actually like have them read on time. Then it'll also take away like the pressure of having like so many arcs due in the same week. But yeah, so that is my next goal. And then my last goal is the same goal I had last year. I want to read, vlog, tab, and annotate all of the book club books. And I have made it a goal in my mind that the first book I read every month is going to try to be the book club book, depending on if I have it or not. I want it to be one of the first books I read instead of waiting until like later in the month to read it, because then that makes me like fall behind and not actually end up reading them or finishing the book late. But yeah, so I'm going to try to really prioritize my book club, because I love my book club and I've enjoyed the books that we've read last year. So I do want to prioritize it. I just have very bad like priority lists. So like if I'm reading ARCs, then I'm going to forget about my book club. So if I make my book club my #1 priority and make that one of the first books that I read in the month, I feel like I will have a lot more time to finish, tab, annotate, and have the vlog out for you guys. So that is it. It's a pretty short video here on my end. We're just talking about my goals. But if you have any goals, you know, feel free to share. I love watching goal videos. It also like sets me up for the year and just, you know, gives me a bit of a clean slate. I'm really excited for all of my goals. I don't feel like any of them are going to be like super difficult to achieve. If anything, the one that's going to be the hardest is to get my physical TBR under 150. But I am determined and I do have plans in place to hopefully lessen my physical TBR. So I'm excited for the new year to see what all comes from it. I'm going to slowly come back into YouTube. My small goal is to post at least twice a month. So if I can do that consistently, I think that it'll set me up to post more instead of kind of like video dumping, posting like 2 times a week 1 month and then not at all the next month. So my small goal is to post at least twice a month. If I do more, that'll be great, but I will feel accomplished and proud of myself if I just post 2. So this is my first video of 2024 and I'm excited to see what's to come. I do have some fun vlogs planned already. I've been looking at some content that I want to make, and I'm overall really excited to see what the year will bring us. Hopefully we all read all the good books and we have a very great year. But yeah, so that is all from me. You can like, comment, and subscribe down below if you'd like. All of my socials to follow me anywhere else are in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!